Thank you. Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon. I love my Monday afternoon chats because we've got another Zoco member. Never met in person, Helen.
No,
Okay.
I know.
I mean, it's so bizarre. So yeah, a pleasure talking to Helen Kirkby. Well, I kept on calling you Kirby, and I know everyone does, but we now know you're definitely Helen Kirkby
Yes,
from
please, thank you.
HK Graphics. And at least having run a mailing house for 1,000 years, I do know what a graphic designer does. But it's interesting to get to know you better. Okay. So first of all, I'm gonna pin you and me. So what do I know about Helen? Helen has done some work for Zoco. What I love working with Helen is, she's a perfect person to deal with. I gave her the briefest of outlines. Okay. She took my ideas, ran with it, and produced that lead magnet for me. Perfect. Okay. What I don't want is 1,000 questions. You kind of knew what I wanted. You came up with something perfect. I've got to get that lead magnet organized. So I have used you.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Okay. But first of all, before I do pin you, what's your networking journey to date, Helen?
To date, so I've been going back 2.5 years, and I started in just a local networking 4N networking group. And that kind of finished about lockdown time, and I was ready to look at other options. And so I just started making use of all the free COVID related networking, and then decided I was going to hone it down to Zoco, because I like all
remember,
the people.
you resisted for a bit, didn't you? I remember you came onto the free meeting a couple of times.
Oh, because it was a summer holidays, I think, wasn't it? And I was things were a bit crazy in the summer holidays. Yeah. But by September, I was ready to kind of.
Good. And have you enjoyed your Zoco adventure so far?
Yes, I love it. All the people I've met, amazing, and really supportive too.
Good. You're an Ascot, aren't you? I gather.
I am. Yeah.
Bloody Ascot, beautiful. Right. So, Helen Kirkby from HK Graphics. Okay, I'm going to start with. I'm not going to go. Your questions that come through, and they're fantastic. Exactly what I wanted. The idea about these Monday afternoon sessions is that I get my members to answer the frequently asked questions they are always asked. They're always a session of questions we're always asked in our industry, and so those are the questions. So I get her to answer those questions. Okay, right. So let's go. This first one. How do you go about designing a logo, Helen?
Well, I start with we have a conversation. And I'd like to learn, ideally in person, but obviously at the moment we're on Zoom. So we have a big chat about the business, about where you see it going, things you like, things you dislike. And then I send you a questionnaire with really basic questions which are kind of similar to probably what we've already spoken about, but it just gives me a little bit more detail. And based on that, I then create a mood board or a few mood boards. And that kind of plays back to you the brief in visual terms, really, and I look at competitors. What do they look like? What are they doing? We dip into that. I dip into color theory as well, because sometimes people have a color preference, but it might not be right for their business. So I have a look at color theory. We have a look at some types of font, types of typefaces. And I send all that over, and we just have a discussion about what they see. And often it's either, yes, that's the feel that I want, or sometimes it's a complete change of brief. So it's just a way of me unpicking what they want. And then from that, I start coming up with some ideas. And we go back and forth maybe 2 or 3 times. Each time the ideas, we sort of narrow them down, and I start to show them maybe on a business card, or maybe in a kind of website or LinkedIn scenario, so they can see how they might look in reality. And then we just sort of funnel down, and hey presto, come up with the final logo, and you get a package which has got all the file types you need, covering everything that you could possibly need. As Tim knows, need some vector files for the printers, you need JPEGs, you need PNGs, you need lots of different things. And I give you all the little elements. If we've created an icon, you'll get that separately, and a sheet showing you the color breakdown for web designers and for printers as well.
I know about brands and logos. I know how important it is to get the right logo. There's nothing more exciting than getting your logo rebranded, as I said. So I mean, do you often, presumably you ask people, are there logos and brands that you like, that you admire?
Yes, always ask those questions, because it gives you a really good feel for their likes and dislikes, because ultimately they want to be proud of, if they're handing their business card over or sending you to their website, they need to be confident and proud, and the website or the logo also needs to reflect the business.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's what you're trying to portray.
Yeah, give your customers confidence in you.
You mentioned about JPEGs and PNGs. I mean, that's, even me. I mean, crikey. So, what is the difference between a JPEG, a PNG, and an EPS file then?
Well, so in my world, an EPS file would be what I design in Illustrator, Adobe Illustrator, and from that I create EPS files, which are vectors, and those are scalable to any size on any medium, but they're only files that are opened by printers or designers. So although I would give you those files, you probably won't be able to open them. So the files that you need for your businesses are the JPEGs, and you can use those on everything, but they all come with a solid background. So if it's on a white background, it's a solid white background that you would plonk on to an image or a background. But if you want a transparent background, so a bit like my logo behind me, where you want a color or an image behind it, you need a PNG file, because those have transparent backgrounds, and that means whatever you put your logo on, you can see what's behind it.
You have no idea what they stand for. It stands for them, doesn't it? I will Google it.
Don't ask me that. No, I can probably tell you if I Google it.
Don't worry. And you produced. We needed an EPS for this, didn't we? My bottle.
Yes, I had to redraw your logo because you didn't have the vector file. But luckily, you've got a nice straightforward logo.
Yeah,
it was quite simple.
Okay, and that's the other thing you helped me with. That's fantastic. Okay, I mean, brand colors are fascinating. Obviously, your brand color. What is your color called? Do you know what your Pantone color is?
I haven't gone down the route of Pantones for a long time, because Pantones are spot colors that people don't tend to print as much anymore unless they're doing high-end printing. So I don't have a name for my color other than maybe teal, maybe.
Okay, well, talk about colors. One of your questions is why don't my brand colors on my website, social media match my business cards and brochures?
Yeah, so that's because when you are on your computer or your phone, as you probably know, everything's made up of red, green, and blue on those, and those gadgets and things emit light, so they're sort of showing you the image with lights all lit up. So they tend to look quite vibrant. But as soon as you move to print, obviously it's ink that soaks into the paper, and paper absorbs light, so they'll never match. And often you find a web designer will have to kind of create the closest match to the print, or as I've done with someone recently, they only existed digitally, and I had to create the closest match in print, but they will never 100% match.
I mean, I'm going slightly off topic at the moment. You noticed that obviously I had my logo, but I'm quite a fan of using different colors and different fonts in my posts on social media. Okay, I'm not supposed to. You notice I've done 2 today. Completely different colors, completely different fonts. Okay, my logo at the bottom, obviously. How do you feel about using different colors and logo and fonts and stuff, or would you always stick strictly to the same font?
I would. Wow, it's a bit of a double-edged sword. You definitely want consistency. Definitely, that's the key thing. So if you're wanting to experiment, you probably want to do it carefully, and maybe make sure you keep the colors, you keep your logo, but for some reason you might want a script font or something because you're writing out a quote. Lots of people do quotes, don't they, on social media. So I would just say exercise caution, because if you look across all your posts and they all look different and crazy, then you've lost your consistency. So, but equally you could grab someone's attention by suddenly using a completely different colour. They might go, whoa, where's that? Who's that?
Yeah. No wonder.
I would keep consistent. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Okay. Sorry, that question. I'm not ready to rebrand. Can you work with my existing logo?
Of course, yes. I do lots of working with existing brands, and that's completely fine. You don't have to have a rebrand if you're not ready, and you might not even need one. And also, I mean, recently I did a brochure for a chartered surveyor who's got, well, he wouldn't mind me saying, he's got a terrible logo, but he can't change it because it's all on all his office stuff. It's just everywhere. And so instead of using it as he had been using it, I've modernised it by using it differently. I had block colours behind it, and I just used his brand colours to sort of make it look more modern. But yes, I do work with other people's brand guidelines and colours, as I did with yours as well.
Yeah. Okay, lovely. Thank you. Right, so let's go. Question number one. I mean, I always mix it up. Yes, I know what. What's your career history, Helen?
Oh gosh, it's getting longer by the day. So I've been a graphic designer for coming up for 30 years, and started 4 years at art college, and then from there I've been through retail, always in marketing departments, retail, pharmaceutical. I've been in civil service for my sins for a bit as a graphic designer. I've been in small agencies as well, and life insurance. Quite shocking.
Oh, talk about that offline, Helen. Obviously, because
I know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, so mostly I've been in marketing departments, which, whilst I'm not a marketeer, it just gives me quite a good broad view of, you know, how people should market their business, and maybe it helps me direct them to marketers to get that advice as well.
And why and when did you set up HK Graphics?
So I was in life insurance for too long, and just wanted variation, wanted to meet new people, new experiences. I wanted to flex my business around family and life in general. And so that's,
So when though?
Oh, about 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
So it's a little bit tricky because the first year is the first year, which is difficult, and the second year was COVID, which is how I met you. See, I would never have met you if it hadn't been for COVID.
I would have tracked you down in the networking world.
You would have,
I would have found
I'd have been there.
As Tim will testify, I would have found you one way or another. You know that. Okay. And it is a lovely question. I love this. Okay. What good free stuff is out there to help promote my business?
Oh, so I've got a little list of some stuff. Where did I write it? Yeah. So obviously, social media is free generally. I know you can pay for certain things, but social media, Canva is free to help you with your social media posts. If you're looking for images, there's lots of free images on websites like Unsplash or Pixababy. If you want little icons, there's a website called Vecteezy, which gives you all sorts of little icons for anything you can imagine. And also networking. I know it's not all free, but you can get lots of great advice from one-to-ones with people, particularly if you want advice about how to market your business, then obviously go and grab a one-to-one with one of the marketing peeps on our group. And also following your peers and competitors as well. So that would be my recommendation.
Okay, lovely. You guys look interesting, crazy. What's the difference between a graphic designer and a web designer? Surely they're the same thing.
Oh, I know. They're like the same but different. Web design is just its own beast, I think. It's so technical. And if you want your website looking good, fast, showing up in Google, all those kind of behind the scenes things that need to happen to your website, you need to go to a web designer. And then the graphic designer obviously does design for print, design for digital, but really focuses on typography, imagery, getting messages across, more on the marketing side, I guess.
Okay. And when you come to clients, I mean, this is fascinating, obviously, because, you know, more and more people come to you and say, can you do some canvas? Can you do this? You know, presumably lots of your clients are small businesses, but who are your ideal clients?
So my ideal clients are clients, well, first of all, clients that are wanting to invest in their business and improve how their presence online, their presence in print. But I like helping startups. That's quite rewarding. But I also like having the medium-sized businesses that want repeat business, because that means I really get to grips with their branding and I become kind of their in-house designer, really. So I guess my ideal is to be your in-house designer on calls, and I'm au fait with your branding, what you like, what you need.
And you are able, presumably, you are able to be that person. A company says, I need 10 Canva graphics for Instagram about so and so. You can do that, can you? You can respond quickly, can you?
Yes. Yeah, I'm always very upfront with timings, deadlines, when you're going to get things. Don't leave people hanging.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, again, you're displaying a piece of your work behind you. You have your Zoom background, and you can produce Zoom backgrounds for people, can you, as well?
Yeah. Zoom backgrounds, and you can create. In fact, no, I did this one in Illustrator, but I can create these in Canva as well, so that when you get them, you can edit your messages, so you can have different backgrounds for different meetings.
Okay, all right. Web banners. What's a web banner?
What's a web banner? What is a web banner? Web banners are, well, on your website, adverts for your website, for your business, things that pop up and direct people to your website.
Okay.
Anything you see around the periphery.
Gotcha. And presumably you work very closely with web designers, do you?
Yeah, web designers, marketers. They're great clients, actually, working with marketers. Yeah.
Okay. What about now? What one piece of advice would you give to all businesses?
Oh, that just comes back to that big word, consistency, really, that we were talking about earlier. In fact, that's what I was going to do my 3 minutes on tomorrow.
Okay.
In the meeting. Yeah, I think consistency, how you're showing up visually, whether that's how you're speaking, writing, looking. Okay,
all right, lovely.
One tip.
Okay, we'll have questions in a minute, Teresa. So I'd love to see you working Texas. So we'll do some questions in a minute. So it says that I have a logo, but the quality seems really poor. What's wrong with it?
What's wrong with it? It's just too small. So if you haven't been provided with a big enough logo and you put it on screen or you try and print it, so if you see it on screen and it's pixelated, just the original quality is too poor, too low resolution. And if you see it in print and it looks fuzzy, then it's the same problem. It's just too low resolution. And when that happens, like we did with your logo, we have to go back to either the file that the designer created in Illustrator and save out a JPEG from there, or like we did for you, have to redraw it in Illustrator and start from the beginning.
We did a wonderful job. So you redrew that, did you?
I did. I had to redraw it.
Impressive. What's your vision? I mean, what's your vision for your company in the next sort of 5 years? I mean, you don't have employees as such. It's just you, is it?
It's just me, and I don't have a vision to kind of be anything more than just me. If I get busy, then I can look at. I've got lots of colleagues I can pull in to help me out. But really, I think the next 5 years, my kids are in senior school, so I want to be there to help them. So it's more about balancing my work and getting satisfaction from that and being there for them. So sort of the short to medium term is to just keep going with networking, keep building my client base, but keep it tidy.
Okay. Okay, tell me something I don't know about you, Helen. I love that question.
Do you like that question?
I do.
Well, I was trying to think, what don't people know? So when I was at school, I was a majorette, and I loved it. So we used to go. Do you remember? It's quite American, really. So twirling batons and spinning them in the air and spinning underneath them and things. And we used to go out as a troupe We did competitions, although we didn't do very well at those. But we used to go to local fetes and fairs and do our little dance routines. And then we even did cheerleading for It's a Knockout when it came to our town. Wow. So that was quite exciting. Yeah, got to watch It's a Knockout live and got on the telly as well. So that was quite good.
Wow. I expect as a parent now. I mean, you're like the most wonderful parent because your children will come to you. I want this. I want graphics. I want posters. I want things designed. You're the woman who knows everything, so you can just knock up stuff into the job of a hat, aren't you?
Oh, I know. But then I did a little flyer for my son who wanted to earn some money cleaning neighbours' bikes. So we did a little poster together to get people to come and give us their dirty bicycles that he could clean. But I think I'm not very good really, because when my kids do art, I'm just like, try a bit harder. Maybe move that over there. Have you thought about this? What's that colour?
Sure, you should explain to them why they need to move it over there, don't you?
Yes, I do. Yeah, but they don't want to know.
Either of them showing any interest in coming to the business?
No, there's no following in my footsteps at this moment in time. Although photography, actually, for my eldest, he's getting into photography. So yeah, I'm going to encourage that.
Well, I said no. I mean, I've loved having you. I do remember. I've loved having you in Zoco. You are a wonderful man, and I do remember you undenied about joining. You resisted, but then
I'm not an easy catch.
No, but then you saw the light and you came in. So let's bring everyone back into the room so we can ask them. Anyone got any? Is it lovely to see you, Teresa, all the way from Texas? I don't know. Is it morning there? Are you nice and warm in Texas? What's the weather like?
Oh, yes, it's 36 degrees Celsius.
Oh, crikey.
Goodness me.
It's only 26 here. Well, anyway, do either you or Tim have a question for Helen?
Yes, I do have a question. So you mentioned you use Illustrator. Do you use InDesign? Are you familiar with InDesign? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm a translator, so let me introduce myself. I'm a translator, and so I've been doing this for over 40 years, and I'm now expanding the business. Well, this is my idea of joining Zoco. And so I have a service provider in Mexico. Obviously, it's obviously more competitive, I suppose, than your prices. Yeah. Well, because I didn't tell you, I'm from Mexico and the United States. I was born in the United States, but I lived in Mexico.
Okay.
Now I'm back in the United States as a cyber nomad experience. And but my clients are in the insurance business, and you mentioned that. And so I did, since 2016, I have done the whole Hispanic initiative. So I've translated the entire everything, well, correspondence, brochure, everything that you mentioned there. Everything. Yeah. And so, but sometimes it would be interesting to just maybe offer your clients, if you're doing that, you can offer the InDesign, and I can do the translations. Let's see. I mean, I don't know, just somehow.
Yeah, I do everything in InDesign, like brochures and all of that kind of thing.
Yes, because I don't know technically the difference between Illustrator and InDesign, but I know my clients always ask me to deliver in InDesign.
Yeah, well, I can tell you quickly. InDesign is what you would consider to be publishing software in a sort of traditional sense, and that's where all the type goes in. You've got a document with lots of text. And then Illustrator is where, if you have a diagram in your brochure or your document, I would design that in Illustrator and bring it into InDesign, because then I can enlarge it and reduce it accordingly.
Okay. And so my other question is that on the personal side, I'm also a language specialist, and so I train people to improve their English and their Spanish skills. And so I have a lot of documents and things. Would you take a look at it? Could it be just so that you can just check it? And my logo has to change because, there are some things that I'm changing. So you can, what I understood is that you can change my logo, and you can check out everything that I have.
I can definitely help you with that. We'll do it. We'll set up a one-to-one, and we'll have a chat in more depth about what you're after. Yeah.
It's interesting because, I mean, presumably sort of, 10 years ago, I mean, Tim will know. I mean, the percentage of work that you produce was for print. I mean, it must have been 80% for print. Now, of course, presumably it's 80% for online, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, lots of downloads.
Lots of.
I mean, for me, it's still the same process because I still have to design the brochure, and whether it goes to print or whether you're downloading it as a PDF from the website.
Okay.
So the great thing about that, gone.
Okay, sorry. And speaking of downloads, I thought of my other question because I've always wanted to do my ebook, but my ebook has to have sound in it, and so that's programming. That includes programming, right?
Wow, yeah, yes. I haven't done e-publishing, I have to say.
Okay, well,
yeah, you'd probably want an experienced person for that, just to make sure you get it right, because
okay,
you want to hit your audience with that.
And what software would you use to produce an ebook, Helen?
Do you know, I'm not 100% sure because for me, I tend to create PDFs for things, which I think does work for some types of readers, but I don't think it works for everything. So yeah,
there's a software for small business. There's a software called Issuu, ISSUU.
Oh yes, I've heard
and that's kind of like a book that turns the pages. The thing
that's right. Yes.
Well, but the thing is that what's interesting is that people like us, we're very busy, so we don't have time to do all those creations. So
yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, we should get together and talk about
let's do that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, as I said, the lead magnet you produce is great. It's really, really good. I mean, the whole idea about a lead magnet, as you know, is to pull in email addresses. Okay, you know, pull people into networking. I can gather the email addresses, and then I think Tim would call it spam them about Zoco. I think it's a bit harsh. Okay, you know, educate them and try and drag them in. But no, I mean, the lead magnet you produced was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. It was creative, it was fun, it was colourful, exactly what I wanted. I was quite surprised, I must admit, because you asked me very, very few questions.
Yes, I think I'm just used to. I think I'm used to picking up on things and people, and whether they really want me to just take responsibility, which I thought you did. If I wasn't sure, I would have definitely come back with a lot of questions. But I think I was pretty clear what you needed, and then I could see, because your lead magnet is lots of it's like a 10-point list, isn't it? It's what you had to start with, and so I thought it would work really well if it did sit on one page, but you could take all the elements out and use them separately in social media. And so that was quite handy because you've ended up with lots of little individual social media posts from just that one job.
I've only used one so far. All right. Well, we've any other questions, guys, before we wrap up?
I was just going to add that I thought the post you put about Amanda Wilkes' stuff was fantastic. Got a lot of traction with that. What do you think is the most rewarding sort of aspect of your work in terms of what job can you just go, that's what I really want to do?
Oh, I do love a big fat brochure.
Yes,
styling. So at the minute I'm doing what am I doing? Like an emissions strategy document that's going into the MOD through a private company. And that's great because it's got diagrams, charts. It's quite interesting to read. And I like organising documents and brochures so that the reader can navigate properly through, whether that's colour coding, or, proper headings and hierarchy of text and that kind of thing.
I hope you're charging properly for that job, Helen. Yeah, good.
Quite a good one. He's my favourite client at the moment.
That's good. Well, I will wrap things up. I will wrap things up in a moment. As I said, I mean, I'm so looking forward to seeing you on the 30th of June. I think you're coming to our in-person meeting on the 30th of June. So
I'm planning to.
I can't wait to see you in person. It'll be so weird meeting people for the first time.
It'd be weird. You don't know how tall I am, right?
No, exactly.
It'd be really tall.
Or really tall, with tiny. Well, as I said, sorry, Helen, as I said, come to graphic design, anything on social media, you've got the background there, logos, leaflets, brochures, stationery, web banners, Canva template. Canva template did a really, really good one. You did you did a background for Alex Hughes, didn't you? I think, and some canvas.
Yes, I did. Yeah. yeah, I helped her with some of those.
Good. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure, Helen. Thank you so much. Okay, and we'll stop the
Thank
recording
you.
now.